Welcome. All right, so making it this far to summary of how to find the slope between 2 points. And what I want to do is just kind of go over, at least the process, as well as go over some common mistakes and tips and tricks. So let's just kind of review the process of what I've kind of taught throughout this course to be able to find the slope between 2 points. Now, these 2 points can be in a table, they can be in a graph, or they can just be provided to us on a sheet of paper. So to find the two slopes, or to find the slope between the 2 points, the first thing we want to do is label the points, x1, y1, x2, y2. Then plug those values into the formula, subtract them, or apply the operation, and then go ahead and simplify. So from that process, let's go ahead and take a look at some tips and tricks, I guess. We'll get to that one first. But again, the first thing is to label points. So many students do not want to do that. They get lazy, right? They just say, I already know what x1, y1, x2, y2 are. Or maybe they don't understand that. So it's very important to write those down, label them. So therefore, if you make a mistake, or if you want to check your answer, you can go back and say, oh, I did that incorrectly, or I know exactly what those points are. So label them. It is very, very helpful. It's not a waste of time. Common mistakes. The reason why is they label incorrectly. They label x1, x2 and this for the same coordinate point. We got to know that coordinate points are x and y's, right? Next thing is they forget the formula. Sometimes when you have the x2 and x1 and y1 and y2, they kind of forget how everything goes together. Remember, the formula is just the change in y over the change in x. And we find change by subtracting the values. So m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And that should be provided for you, to go and work with. Last thing, this is a huge one, is subtracting incorrectly. And this kind of gets to my tips and tricks. A lot of students have problems if I say 5 minus a negative 4, or negative 3 minus 5, or negative 5 minus a negative 8, or we could do, I think that would pretty much be about it. So they have trouble with the subtracting. And remember, when you're plugging in those values, one thing that's very important is to apply parentheses. So if I want to say 5 minus 2, 5 minus 2, you don't really need parentheses. But what if it's 5 minus negative 2? Put it in parentheses. Because a lot of students, if it's, if you have your point, 5 minus negative 2, they'll just say, oh, well, it's just like that. No. That's 5 minus positive 2. So it's very important to, when you are plugging your terms in, put them in parentheses. This is really 5 minus positive 2. So if you're going to be subtracting a negative number, put it in parentheses. 5 minus a negative 3. So therefore, then you can distribute amongst if you need to, and you can see that this double negative is going to turn it to positive. So the tips and tricks is to apply parentheses, and the common mistake is, students just totally forget how to subtract with positive and negative numbers. And the last thing is simplify. Now, if you have, for instance, if you have something like 2/4, it's okay. As far as graphing it, if you don't simplify that to 1/2, that's really not the end of the world. However, when we do have like a negative 2 over negative 4, it is very important for you to understand that those divide into a positive 1/2. So, preferably we like to find the simplest form of the slope when we're using our equation. So kind of get in the habit of doing that. But the biggest mistake is a lot of students will forget the negative signs and not know that the slope is going to be positive or negative because they're not simplifying. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations for making this far. I hope you took something out of the course, and I look forward to seeing you in another one. Thanks.